One.
Welcome to Now and Forever, a series of 10-minute reflections on good news spirituality, sponsored by the Charles and Catherine Free Family Foundation, and brought to you from Our Lady of the Sacred Heart Parish here in Watertown, New York. With me, as usual, Vicki Phillips.
Hi, Father.
Member of the choir. Pat Henry, also a member of the choir.
Hey, Father.
And the leader of our confirmation group, at which he does a very good job. We're going to continue to talk about evangelization, and now we're getting to where it is really family evangelization. Vicki's going to start us off with there's something about evangelization. Vicki?
So let's get down to practicality. How do we evangelize on a golf course?
Ooh.
The first thing you'll have to do is enjoy playing golf. If you don't enjoy the game, you will display your displeasure in countless ways, none of them expressive of a spirit of humility, gratitude, charity, patience, or deference to those unfortunate enough to have joined you for the round of golf. But it is important or even possible. But is it important or even possible to evangelize on the golf course? Well, it is possible to enjoy playing golf. If it is, then it's not merely possible. To do otherwise would amount to a failure to acquire virtue, to give good example, and to arouse the curiosity of those who might be wondering whether there is more to life than playing golf.
I like that. That's pretty good. No, see what it's saying here is that if you like playing golf, well, then it's possible to evangelize. You know, because if you don't enjoy playing golf, how could you ever be an example of patience and charity and kindness and enjoying a good day and God's gift and all this other stuff?
God's name.
God, yes. Well, that's another thing, you know. But this is it. This is it. I mean, we're talking about evangelization. What does evangelization mean? It means to bring Christian values into our culture, into our daily lives, into all the things that we are and do. So that per paragraph is very good. Hey, take us a little farther, Pat.
Okay. Let's look at this situation a little closer. What are we dealing with here is an opportunity to restore leisure and recreation to its rightful place in our culture. We, in our human condition as designed by God, clearly require periods of rest, relaxation, and physical exercise if we are to maintain healthy in body, mind, and spirit. This need for a reprise from the demands of everyday living is all the more urgent in a time of heightened stress, headlined by the fact that people often feel compelled to hold down two jobs to make ends meet. Yet, in our culture, the world of sports, entertainment, and recreation looks less like a blessing than a curse.
Wow. See that? So now we're supposed to evangelize? Well, what that was about, the way I looked at it, or the way I heard Pat read it, is that playing golf is important. You know, playing golf is something that perhaps some people really need, you know, to restore their equanimity, to, just get out and
blow off steam.
And blow off some steam, you know. And so, but it's still a moment where you could really evangelize. By that meaning, be an example, work by principle, don't get mad, don't throw your clubs around, and just show people that, yeah, there is things in life that are more important than golf, but golf is still a good thing, you know? And it just says, well, let's see what we say here. You're keeping time, right, Pat?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm going to do the next paragraph. It's a short one, so we err in several directions at the same time. On the one hand, we make too much of sports. The fanaticism tied to the athletic accomplishments of schools from the primary to the college level takes on the nature of idolatry. On the other hand, lots of people end up being proverbial couch potatoes. So here the question is, can we really sports now have really become such an important thing because we don't have anything else to share. All our values and truths and principles are down the drain. So the only thing you can really talk about is, to people that, well, Pat has a few other things like taxes and stuff like that. He can talk about that.
I don't know. We're here when the Syracuse basketball game is on, so
okay.
Vicki and I were listening to it on the way over.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess we are our own worst enemies then.
That's dedication.
Yes.
I mean to this, not to the Syracuse. No, but it's really true. In other words, what I'm saying is that we have to have the proper perspective. You can't make sports the most important thing in your life. At the same time, it is a valuable thing. And so therefore, it's something worthwhile. Pat, do that last one, then we'll talk about what else we didn't say.
Our use of leisure is meant to be an asset, not a liability. This is not an issue that ranks up there with the hideous crime of abortion. At the same time, however, it is far from being irrelevant in any attempt to restore civility, sanity, and respect for human dignity in the fabric of our national culture. The goal is entirely consistent with the Church's mission of evangelization.
Okay, you see, that's very good. That the summation there, to restore civility, sanity, and respect for human dignity in the fabric of our national culture, that this isn't there. You know, whether it's in politics or even in sports, you know, there's a lot of times it's just people they don't have the culture that we had, where you had to have integrity, where you had to have deference to other people and be civilized people. You know, it got to be, gee. And there's a lot of stuff going on that fights very much against this whole idea of civilization. You know,
Well, the kids nowadays are taken to colleges and pressure put on them to be able to perform, and, you know, given money to perform, and if they don't, then, you know, they're told about it, and, you know, they don't approach it the right way.
Well, the sport is a business, okay? It is a business. It doesn't make any difference what level you're talking about, because everyone thinks their little darling is going to be the next Wayne Gretzky, or you know,
Right.
you know, the next Mario Rivera, which are all great things to aspire to. Okay, but you can't lose sight of the fact that kids have to be kids. I mean, we see it as that's our number one competition on Sunday now, is that there's kids that have coaches and mentors out there that say, well, you know, you play sports Monday through Friday for the school, so on the weekends you've got to get in your other sport activities. So if you're playing lacrosse in the spring, you should be playing in a lacrosse camp or club or something on the weekends. Or so you know, it's a good idea that they have things to do, but it would be just as great an idea for that family to spend the time together and do something. Maybe go for a hike. That's exercise. You know, go mow grandma's lawn. Go rake grandpa's leaves for him. You would get the same physical benefit out of it. But we're, you know, we've got this thought that our little darling is going to really be this star athlete, or is going to get this scholarship to the college. And that does happen. We see that on the TV, because it's always on the TV when so-and-so gets accepted at the Division I school.
Big stuff, yeah.
So, yeah. I have very mixed feelings, because
So what that sentence says, our use of leisure is meant to be an asset, not a liability. So we make it into a liability rather than...
And the parents chase that dream, or push that dream.
Yeah. I guess that's about where it stands now. But the whole thing is, you can evangelize playing golf, playing basketball, doing anything, because then you're showing the priority. We're doing this not as though it were an end in itself, but a celebration of our gifts and our talents, and learning how to be good people, you know, to play with integrity and not to cheat or do all the other stuff that a lot of people do in an attempt to, you know, do what is not to be done.
We got about 9 seconds left.
Oh, okay. Hey, all right. We'll move ahead with the next one. I think it carries on the same vein. I looked ahead. But this is good. You can evangelize on the golf course, bringing Christian values into our culture. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon. Take care. God bless.